There it goes again. I do not want to get sued, thank you, Mom. I'm so sorry about that. Thank you so much for bringing that energy. I really do appreciate it. But I actually provided my own music tonight, so I'm going to have to go off stage. We're going to have to do that all again. If you can bring that energy just one more time, we just need to do it the right way, the royalty-free way, the way that's not going to get me sued. Thank you. That is bombed every night. I thank you for laughing. Is everyone having a good day? Well, I'm not. I'm glad you asked why. There is currently a tragedy happening in America. It's an American tragedy. And I know you came here to laugh today, but unfortunately I think everyone here in Australia is too ignorant. And I could not stand by here while I have a platform, just go idly by saying jokes. So I want to educate you all today, and I want to inform you without further ado. Did you know that this is what they call a fucking possum in America? Holy shit! What the fuck is this thing? It is terrifying. What is in the water over there? Now for comparison's sake, this is a possum in Australia. Look how cute that thing is. And what the fuck is this thing? So this is a tragedy. This is an American tragedy, this thing. And now, I know a lot of you here have done some research, don't actually know that this is what they're calling a possum over there. So I did a bit of research myself, and I found out that this is an opossum, whereas that's just a possum. Now, I don't know about you, but I think the O stands for holy shit, what the fuck is that thing? Enough about possums. I spent $50 on those posters. I think it was worth it. Thank you all so much for coming out, bringing that energy not just once but twice tonight. I'm sure by the double introduction you know my name's Brandon Alvaro, and I'm so pleased to be able to bring my world first comedy special here to you all at this beautiful establishment, the Duke of York. I could not ask to be anywhere else. Actually, that's a lie. I asked at the Garden and they told me I wasn't funny or established enough. Now, it's always been a dream of mine to perform stand-up comedy, and I want you all to know by me being up here today that if you put your blood, sweat and tears into something, you still won't be able to achieve your dreams until you pay someone the right amount of money. I'm lucky the Duke took my bribe. They didn't even vet what I'm going to say. I can say whatever the fuck I want up here, and I've got you all for 60 minutes. Thank you all. No, thank you all for coming. I can tell we already have the most courageous audience in Australia here with us. You guys put your hard-earned money on the line to come to an untried comedian at the Fringe. That's a very, very, very brave move. And I've warned you all. I called the show last, not guaranteed. But you showed up anyway. I really appreciate it. But even if you don't laugh, that is all good because I've actually planted some family friends in the audience. They're going to be my canned laughter. And they fucked that up. That was worth doing. No, I was warned very early on when you're as inexperienced as me, do not go for a 60-minute Fringe show. Do not do it. So I'm not going to promise you all the best show here tonight. I'm not going to promise that. I just set myself a goal to make each and every one of you laugh at least once. But if you don't, it doesn't matter because I got your money anyway. No. It's not about profit, and this is about profit. This is a passion project for me, like I said. Put a lot of passion in this, I don't care about the money. So I actually decided very early on that I'm going to donate all the proceeds of this show to charity. Yeah, her shift starts at 1 AM at the Crazy Horse. She'll be glad when I arrive. I wanted this show to be very personal. I wanted this show to be very personal to me. I didn't just want to come up here and go joke. Because I don't know if any of you were listening before the show started, that Elvis was singing, he was yelling at you guys in the front row, sorry about that speaker, that talks about dreams and following your passions. And I want to inspire at least someone out there to follow your passions, but know that the journey isn't going to be easy. It's not. I've been called everything in my comedy journey: unfunny, disappointing, disgusting, abhorrent. I still don't know why Mum gave that speech on my 8th birthday. But it made me who I am today. So I'm glad to be here. Now, I'm sure you'll solve by the promotional material that I was a police officer, ex-cop turned comedian. I use that tagline. And it's true, I used to be a police officer. I actually left in the middle of last year. I was fired. I know, right? I know. They said I was too trigger happy. It's not what you're thinking. It didn't involve a gun, didn't involve anything like that. It's actually the taser. See, whereas guns use bullets, tasers use cartridges. And I was at this job, all the stories tonight are going to be true, and a guy was attacking me with some garden shears. And I was in fear for my life, so I used my taser on him. It was successful. I heard someone laugh about the garden shears. It was success, it was good, and I thought I did a really good job. But the big boss, he called me into his office afterwards, and he says to me, "Brandon, you are too trigger happy. You cannot go tasing people willy-nilly like that." I was actually in shock. I thought, hang on, pretty stressful. I thought I did a good job. But then it made sense to me, because then he followed up with, "Brandon, you are too trigger happy. You cannot go tasing people so willy-nilly. St. Paul has a budget for taser cartridges. And we need to save them all for the grandmas in the dementia ward." That story's not true. That's the only one that's not true tonight. I promise everything else from this point forward is going to be true for you all. I'll start with a bit of honesty. I didn't leave because I was fired. I left because it took its toll on me mentally. As it does so many other officers, it's a very difficult job. And I find it just makes you an angrier person. That's the best way I could describe it to people. See, I believe there's two versions of me. There's a pre-police version of me. He's a great guy, you love that guy. You invite that guy to a party. But then you have a post-police version of me. He gets angrier, he's a bit more jaded. So find that he's a bit more petty. He takes an odd sense of satisfaction in other people's misfortune. And now I want to give you an example today because it does bleed over into your day-to-day life. So I have a day-to-day example for you all. You know when you're stopped at the red traffic light, you're waiting to go straight, there's a car next to you, they're waiting to go straight as well, and then the arrow light turns green, and they think it's their turn to go, so they do that little false start. It's embarrassing. We've all done it. But pre-police version of me being in the car next to him knows it's embarrassing, so he lets that slide. However, angry, jaded version of me winds down my window and goes, "You fucking embarrassment!" So I think the police turned me into a fucking psychopath. Yeah, so I got over that. I overcame that one. Now, I did leave in the middle of last year. I went from a police officer and I made a change. I ended up joining the council. So expecting more booze for that one. I ended up joining the council and I made this great life decision because where I was a police officer, I got paid to do nothing and be hated by everyone. To make this great decision, which I do not regret for a second, because now I get paid much, much less to still do absolutely nothing, and I'm still fucking hated by everyone. But it's all good. It is all good. I'm still happy with my life choices. I really am, because in the space of 6 months, I've gone from police officer to council worker to comedian. And if I keep going on this trajectory, I'm going to achieve my dreams of being homeless by doing that. I I think you know you haven't made it just yet as a comedian when you don't have a blinding spotlight in your face, separates you from the audience, you can see all your faces, quite intimidating. Up to you, so yeah, you know you haven't made it just yet. And like I said, I'm quite new to stand-up comedy, and prior to doing this show, I'd only ever done 3 open mic gigs, and they go for 5 minutes each. Knowing the person I am, I thought, fuck it, let's do a 60-minute Fringe show. That's going to go well, isn't it? But as I've gone into this longer form of comedy, I've actually found that performing stand-up has a lot of similarities to my sex life. See, where I like to promise you all I'm going to give you a fantastic mind-blowing 60 minutes a night, realistically you'll get an average 5, and then you have to listen to me talk for the next 50 minutes. My laughing's consistent too. As I get used to stand-up comedy, I'm still trying to get used to a lot of things. A heckler, for example, not good with hecklers. My first ever gig went awfully for me. Telling this joke, and this woman in the crowd, she absolutely hated me. She's in the middle of this joke, she calls out from the back, "You're not funny." Didn't know what to say, I kept trying to push through. But then it got more personal. She calls out, "You're fat and you're ugly." Kept going. I didn't know what to do, I was frozen. Then she calls out, gets just a bit more personal. She goes, "You're looking pudgy tonight." And I don't know why that offended me more than 5 seconds ago when she called me fat. I knew I'd let myself go. Then I keep going, and then it just got way too real for me. She calls out, "You are 28 years old, you're taking finasteride for your receding hairline. You have a small dick and your parents don't love you." That was way too real for me. It really was. It was too real for me. So I ended the show right then and there. And it made me want to quit comedy. But I also didn't want to let her win. So I made a promise to myself. Rather than quit, I made this promise. Never perform stand-up to my grandma ever again. Not good with that. For a comedian, I'm actually not very quick with it. One of those people that be having an argument with someone and they'll have a go at me and they just freeze. Can't think of a good comeback. I'm gonna go home, just stew on it a bit, get in the shower, just relive the argument over and over again, and then I come up with a good comeback. I just kick myself. Why couldn't I think of that at the time? That would have been a good line. So I'm warning you now tonight, if you do heckle, not only are you not going to get a good comeback, you're not going to get anything at all. I'll make a promise to you. If you buy tickets to next year's show, I'll have a report for you. We should move on. Like I said, previous police officer, now turned comedian, and never felt like I was cut out for the police personally. Should have known that. Probably should have known that from day 0. And that comes from my application interview. See, they do these interviews at police headquarters, and I remember walking in that day. It was the first time in my life when I walked in and I realised I get a bit of a shake when I'm really nervous. It's like a dog when they're getting a very good scratch. Oh yeah, oh shit yeah. There's only been 2 other times in my life where I had that nervous shake. Another one was before my first open mic, but the second one I want to talk to you all about tonight comes a bit later on in my career, so I have to fast forward a little bit. I was working solo, so I was working by myself, and a job came through that there was a bar fight happening in Para Hills, massive bar fight. I put my hand up for it, I thought I would go. I didn't realise I was going to be the first one there though. So I walked in, and as I walk in, I see 30 people, that's 15 from each rival bikie gang just kicking their shit out of each other. It was a nice moment for me though, because in that moment, I saw 30 people, 2 rival bikie gangs, absolutely intent on killing each other, come together for one shared goal. And unfortunately, that was to kick my fucking head in. And there has never been a more satisfying sound in the world than the sound of all the police sirens coming to back me up. And I remember it. They arrived, they got it sorted out, but I was still so amped up, I had so much adrenaline, I was still so nervous after the fact. I had to speak to a witness behind the bar, and I was trying to write her name in my notebook, but I couldn't do it. My hand was just shaking. And this was embarrassing. I knew it was shaking, I knew she knew it was shaking, and keep in mind, this is in the middle of summer. The best thing I could come up with, I looked at her and said, "Gee, it's cold." And I have never seen someone lose respect for me that fast in my life. That wasn't until I decided to compare comedy to my sex life earlier, which is a joke I wouldn't have kept in if I knew my family was going to be doing it. I feel like there's other things you can do to make people lose respect for you. You know when you're arguing with someone and your voices are getting a little bit raised? And I feel like you lose the respect of that other person instantly the moment you have a voice break. I feel like it's a universal rule. If you're arguing with someone and you have a voice break, it doesn't even matter if you're right, you are wrong in that moment. You're arguing with a flat earther. I'm telling you what, the earth is round. Never live on a flat earth. But this rule applies tenfold when you're in the police. I remember also in my first high-risk arrest once, a guy came out of his house, he wanted to kick my head in. And that's going to be a common theme for tonight's story. I'm not a very intimidating looking person, am I? So I use my voice, try and intimidate people. I try to put on a Batman voice. Police stop, put your hands behind your back. What actually came out was, police stop, put your hands behind your back. Oh, right, my hands are all like that. We need to go back to the interview now. Sorry for that digression. Back to the interview. We're to police headquarters and I do stupid shit when I'm nervous and I'm shaking. And I walk into the interview room. 2 police officers on the other side of the desk. And I walk in, I put my bottle down on the table, and I placed it right next to a jug of water and empty glass they provided for me. And I do stupid shit when I'm nervous. So I sat down, and I immediately stand back up to start filling the glass with water, internally panicking. What the fuck are you doing? I've got a full roll of water right next to you. Put it down, sit down. So now I need to formulate a plan. So my plan is I'm going to wait for them to ask me a question, I'm going to answer, then I'm going to have a drink from my water bottle. I'm going to keep doing that, then I'm going to move on to the glass. And then hope that these 2 police officers haven't realised I've just sculled about 2 litres of water in the space of 20 minutes as if I've just come to this thing after running a marathon through the Sahara Desert, mouth pasture shit. But I do stupid shit when I'm nervous. So as soon as she asked me the first question, I answer, then I just picked both up and started double-handling. The general grievous of interviews. It was bad. And it only got worse from there. No. It got worse from there. We got to that point in the interview where people ask your weaknesses, a very common point in any interview. And I don't know why I hadn't prepared for that question. It's just so common. So I look at them, I just make up an answer, I say, I guess I'm too jovial. This is why I don't think I was cut out for the police. Because they look at each other, they hate this answer. And they look back at me and they say, what do you mean by that? I don't even know what the fuck I meant by that. I just started bumbling over my words. You know, my brother says I like to joke too much. And immediately their faces drop again. One of them, she's borderline angry. She nearly stands up out of a chair, leans across the table and says, do you really think you're cut out for the police then? Are you going to be laughing when a domestic violence victim is telling you about how she's been assaulted? You're going to laugh then? And I'm shaking. No. Then the other one, she actually is angry. She stands up and she leans over and she goes, do you really think you're going to be telling jokes when you have to tell a family member that their loved ones has passed away? And like I said, I do stupid shit when I'm nervous, so I thought this was the perfect time to say, no, I'll leave my clown costume in the car for that one. That is a true story. I don't know how I got it. I did it for 5 years. I'm glad I did it. But not because I enjoy it, but because it's given me enough material to talk shit to you all. Thank you. I do want to apologise for those who bought tickets tonight thinking it was going to be all cool police stories, because it's not. Like I said, this show's more personal to me, and I wanted to touch on something, because going into stand-up comedy has been very difficult for someone like me. Has been. I bet you're thinking, what does he mean, someone like him? But I bet you didn't know that English was my second language. Yes. My first language was goo goo gaga. So English is the toughest language to learn, and I was fluent by 3, so I must be doing pretty well. However, there is 3 rules of the English language that I want to talk to you all about tonight, which I've always struggled with. And the first one's expressions and sayings. I'm not good with expressions and sayings because I take them too literally. See, I was out the other day with my mate Nick, And he says to me, he gives me a piece of advice, and then after giving that advice, he looks at me and says, I'll tell you that for free. I start panicking. You're telling me that for free? You're going to start charging me for advice? It's going to be a monthly subscription. You get 1 month free trial. Do I now need to budget for Amazon, Netflix, and Nick? Now, the only person in my life that I know charges me for advice is my psychologist. And when he tells me, Brandon, do not go into stand-up comedy, you're only trying to mask your insecurities through humour, he doesn't look at me and say, I'll tell you that for $250. He's quite good though. Remember the first time I went to him? I don't know if anyone's been to a psychologist here, but you never want to be there. You just feel really awkward walking in. I sat down, and I don't know what he did, but he got me to talk. I spilled all my secrets, all my traumas in for 60 minutes. And right at the end of it, first words he said to me, he goes, Brandon, this is simple. And at that moment, I felt this wave of relief just come over me. Maybe I'm normal. Maybe I'm going to be okay. And then he follows up with, it's simple. A simple case of complex PTSD. Motherfucker, I thought it was an M. Night Shyamalan movie with a twist like that. I was so angry, I stormed out. But the issue was, I had to book again, because he left me on a fucking cliffhanger. I don't like expressions and sayings. Now the next rule of the English language that I've always struggled with is tone and emphasis. Because tone and emphasis can completely change what a sentence means. Say for example, you ask a junior police officer, how's your day going? He'll look at you and he'll say, oh, I'm living the dream. And you ask that same question to a jaded, angry officer, he looks at you and goes, oh, I'm living the dream. Can you see how tone and emphasis completely changes the meaning of that sentence? Now, I had to learn this one the hard way. So I used to have this female boss, and she absolutely loved me as an employee. But I handed in a piece of work, a report once, and from that moment, she felt nothing but the same from me. She stopped talking to me. She turned on me. She completely turned on me. I was feeling quite down, so I went home, and as I walked in the door, my partner was waiting for me on the couch, and she goes, hey honey, how was your day today? And I say, not good honey, I was turned on by my boss at work today. We argued for about 60 minutes. It took me 60 minutes to explain that my boss did not turn me on, she turned on me. And you see, if I used different tone, how we could have avoided that. And I thought I learned from that moment, however, as a police officer, you have to do lots of school talks. I did lots of career days. Did some career days where I went, and there was this one where I was speaking to a bunch of Year 10 students, and they seemed to be going fine, but I like trying to be more relatable. So I said this joke. No one laughed. In that moment, everyone turned on me. All the school children turned on me. But this one was worse than my boss, because we had an intermission and none of them came back. So not only did they turn on me, they left me. They turned on me, then they left me. And I was feeling quite down. You might want to save that reaction right after the punchline. So I go home that day and I'm feeling quite down, and my partner's just waiting for me again, and she goes, how was your day today, honey? And I say, not good honey, I was turned on by the kids at school today. So she knows now, and she goes, you were turned on by the kids at school today. And then I say, yeah, and you never guess what happened next. Then they blew me off. And we argued again, and I said to her, honey, you understand that English is my second language. You understand I struggle with tone and emphasis, you understand that? And she's great. Perfect. She puts her hand on my lap, she looks at me and she goes, you know, honey, you're right. I do understand that English is your second language. I do understand you struggle with tone and emphasis. But I don't understand why when you came in the door, you said, I was turned on by the kids at school today. I said, that is it. However, there is one more rule of the English language I've never understood. This one is the suffix of ish. This one's a bit more complicated. It's when you add ish to the end of a word. And the way I like to define it is it makes something kind of, not fully, not actually, just kind of. So for example, to catch everyone up to speed, if in the police someone describes you as suspect as tallish, they're not tall, they're not short, they're tall-ish. If someone describes a getaway vehicle to you as brown-ish, it's not fully brown, it's just kind of brown, brown-ish. If a crime happened at 11-ish, a think you get my point by now. And I thought I understood this rule up until I started comedy. Because in one of my gigs, I told a Holocaust joke. And a woman, she stood up, she hated it. She said, "You can't say that, I'm offended, I'm Jewish. And she left. And I just thought in my head, Jewish. Can you imagine how mad she'd be if she was a full Jew?" That's as loud as it gets. We'll move on. I want to lose you all. So we're going to talk about relationships for a bit now. Been thinking a lot about relationships recently. And I've always found in a relationship, I've never been one that's good with my words, explaining how I feel. So I wrote you all a song tonight. I want to dedicate this song to everyone in the audience out there who has a loving partner, but you just don't know how to tell them how you feel. Lam, can we please play the music? You are the love of my life, you want me to be happy. You let me play Xbox and watch the footy. But as soon as it starts, you decide to start cleaning and now I feel guilty. You went and fucking ruined it. Shit, there's a second verse. Movie date night at home, you say let's watch The Notebook. I say how about Happy Gilmore, you say no and I suck. Then as soon as the movie starts, I'm immediately full of sleep, you see me get mad. I went and fucking ruined it. That's it, thank you. We're going out to dinner, I ask what you want to eat. You say you don't mind, so I say let's have Greek. Now we're both eating something none of us really want, it's awkward and silent. We went and fucking ruined it. Don't worry, you don't have to leave. It's not really a musical comedy show. It's the only song I put in there. I realise when you're tone deaf as me, it's probably not worth doing lots of musical comedy jokes. I actually used to think I was a pretty good singer too. That's until someone showed me a video of me doing karaoke, so I stopped singing. I also used to think I was a pretty good dancer, until someone showed me a video of me dancing, so I stopped dancing. Now, I actually am enjoying doing comedy at the moment, so if you are filming, keep that fucking video to yourself. I do not want to see it. Now, the more I think about relationships, the more I like to have other thoughts, I start thinking other thoughts. I fucking hate farmers. Now, don't pull back on me now because I'm going to explain myself. Have you ever known an occupation that complains more than the farmers? And it's always about two things. The flooding or the drought. Now to me that seems like a self-resolving issue. However, the farmers know I hate them. They don't just get back at me in overt ways. They don't just stop working so I can't eat. I believe they do it in more subtle ways. Have you ever got the perfect kind of strawberries? Because I sure haven't. You always go to the shops, you look at it in the shops, it looks fantastic from all angles, but then by the time you get home and you're eating it, you get to the bottom and there's always that furry mangled fuck one just running out of the plastic. Spreads its mould to all the other strawberries. So don't tell me it's like the farmer didn't put it in there. So fuck the farmers. The other occupation I take great issue with is the weatherman. Now, you've got the confident weatherman. He's the one that goes on the news. He goes, it's 30 degrees and sunny outside, so pack your picnic basket. Then you go outside, it's fucking pissing down. I have never known an occupation in my life that is as confidently and consistently wrong as the weatherman. If this guy tells you it's 12 and pouring, you better believe there's not a cloud in sight. Now, the reason I bring these two up is because they've fucked me in my love life. See, I was going on a date with a woman once, and she could have been the love of my life, but I'll never know. Because before the date, I go up to the weatherman and I say, hey mate, what's the weather? He goes, it's 30 degrees and sunny outside, Brandon, so pack your picnic basket. I think, brilliant. So I pick her up, but by the time we get to the Botanic Gardens, it's pissing down on our heads. And she's having a shit time. So I try to salvage it. And just when she thinks it can't get any worse, I pull out the strawberries and figure a strawberry that I can only imagine has the taste, texture and consistency of my arsehole. Now, it's not just the confident weatherman I hate. Yes, I'm still a weatherman. It's also the fence-sitting weatherman. Here's the one. He gets on the news and he goes, it's 30 degrees and sunny outside, so pack your picnic basket. Then he goes outside and realises he fucked up, so he comes back in and reports the feels like a temperature. It's 30 degrees and sunny outside, but it feels like it's 24. Sorry, what? You don't get take backs. Where is the accountability in these people? See, last time I checked, if it feels like it's 24, it's 24. You don't get to use measurements of subjectivity. Can you imagine any other occupation in the world that has the leeway of the weatherman? Let's use a doctor. The doctor, for example. See, I'm in hospital. I'm sitting next to grandma on the bed. The confident doctor walks in. He feels a pulse. Time of death, 8 p.m. Yes, it's sad, but he's confident. You respect him. He commands the room. Now you imagine that with a fence-sitting doctor. He comes in, feels a pulse. Time of death, 8 p.m. But I feel like she could be alive. All of a sudden, grandma doesn't emerge back to life, look me dead in the eyes, call me an unfunny, pudgy, fat fuck on my neck target. See, I was glad when she died 5 minutes ago, but now I'm livid. That was actually the first joke I ever wrote for comedy, that one. All that sense. And as I've written more jokes, I always seem to get lots of advice. And the two key bits of advice that I have paid the most attention to are know your audience and don't punch down. And I've taken that advice with me in every single joke I've written and delivered. However, I do have to ask, what the fuck is going on with homeless people in there? I know I'm setting up a homeless unemployment joke at the Fringe. It's not a smart move. However, I'm not punching down with this one, because I'm actually quite envious of homeless people and their time efficiency, especially when it comes to their disregard to oncoming traffic. You know when you're walking, you're running a bit late, you get stopped by the dreaded red man at the pedestrian crossing. You're getting antsy, time seems to be going forever, you're waiting. Now you can always tell the homeless person in that situation, because he does not give a fuck about the rules of the pedestrian crossing. He just crosses as he pleases. Where does he need to go? Why is he in such a hurry? I feel like there's tiers to all of this. I feel like the first tier, so I'm not punching down, like all in tier 1, we're all a little bit homeless. Because what separates him from the other tiers is he still wants to pretend to the drivers that he cares about their time. So what he does is that little jog that you do where you're not actually speeding up, you're on the same pace. It's like an illusion, pretend you're speeding up. And the reason we're all in that tier is because we all do it too. It's like when someone's holding the door open for you, but you're too far away. Yep, hold that for me, mate. It's an illusion. You might as well walk. Then you have the tier 2. He's been crossing the road for years with disregard. He's played chicken with hundreds of cars in one. And the thing that separates him from tier 1 is that he doesn't even do that job. He doesn't care about the illusion. He just goes at his own pace. And the reason they know they can get away with this is because no one ever beats this guy. Have you ever beat this guy? I haven't. He scares me. Then you have tier 3. Now I like to call this one the walker. Oh, you're nearly done with this bit. This one's called the walker. Now, I'm calling this after the zombie in the zombie show The Walking Dead. But instead of chewing your face off, he's chewing his own face off because he is putting his chops on meth. And this guy definitely doesn't give a fuck about the cars barreling towards him at 80 kilometers an hour because he's too busy fighting off the demons attacking him in his head. I always feel people pulling away. But I think you're hypocritical because I know as a fact every single time one of you sees that tier 3 of person on the road, you can't help but stare at him. And the funny thing is, the moment he looks back at you, he quickly looks around and stays still in your car. If he uses movement to track his vision. It's very similar to another oddity we were on the road. You know when you're stopped at the red traffic light and a car pulls up next to you? I feel like everyone just gets the urge to look at the driver next to them. As if knowing what that person looks like is going to help you in any way, shape or form. Now the awkward thing about this is that they're fucking doing it too. So you're looking at them, they look at you, you quickly snap your neck forward. I don't know about you, I just start fiddling with random shit in the car, tapping on the steering wheel, filling the dials, pretend I'm singing. As if that person didn't just see me give myself whiplash pretending I'm singing. Another oddity we will do, I think, in the car is when you get cut off, just feel the urge to pull out next to that person, speed up, look at them, and do nothing about it. And I do it too. However, I find whenever I'm doing it, and I don't like that I do it, I'm going to preface it with that, but my brain just does something. Every time it turns me into the worst version of myself. Because every time I'm trying to speed up to that person, my brain digs up the inherent racism, ageism, and sexism of my Italian grandparents. Every time I'm speeding up, bet this person's fucking old, bet they're fucking Asian, bet it's a fucking woman, fucking old Asian woman. But every single time, without fail, I get up to that person, I look at them, it's a white guy who looks exactly like me, I do nothing because I'm a coward, and then I have to go about the rest of the day pondering why not only does someone cutting me off on traffic ruin that whole day, but why it turns me into a fucking racist. I want to go back to the homelessness thing. But again, I'm not punching down because I actually have a solution. I have a solution for homelessness. But you're going to have to bear with me on this one because it all starts at the farmer's market. We all know the farmer's market. We've all been to the farmer's market. We all think the farmer's market's a great idea until the point you actually arrive. Because every time you get there, there's never enough people to hide in a crowd. You have to walk up and down these stools looking at these products while the stall owner, and that's the person who's made these products, just sits there staring at you. And these people are like fucking Medusa. You can't make eye contact with them. You need a mirror to navigate through this. And the reason they do that is because the moment you make eye contact with them, they take it as an open invitation to just start talking to you. And then you get stuck in one of those really forced conversations where you're pretending everything they're saying is the most interesting thing in the world. It's like you just learned about active listening 5 minutes ago. Because everything they say, yeah! Why do people do that face when they pretend they're listening to you? It's disgusting. I'll tell you why I do it. Because I'm feigning interest in the shit they're trying to sell me. And it's always the same shit. Homemade jewellery, homemade soap, or homemade candles. Who in their right mind has ever gone to a farmer's market wanting to leave with fucking soap? We all know we go there for the free samples of food they leave out. Pretend you're going to buy. Now, I accidentally made eye contact with one of these people for too long once. I ended up guilt buying a bar of soap. I had to carry the thing around with me all day. I'm like a fucking weirdo. Did have to go to the bathroom a little later. It came in handy then. That's my point. That's my point. It's that guilt stare that they do. And now, do you know who's mastered that? Charities. You know when you're walking in the shops and you walk past the Salvation Army table and you always pretend not to look at them so you don't feel the need to donate? We all do it. It's okay. It's a safe space. But what they've done, they put that bucket there so it draws your eye line in, you look at them, and then you have to donate. But then the world went past them. We became cashless. So now you walk past them with a bit of confidence, you can stare at them, sorry, no cash on me. You're confident, you just keep going. So they had to get smart too. So now they keep the bucket out there. You look at them confident, sorry, no cash on me. Ha. They've got you now because you've shown your hand early. Then they pull out the FPOS machine they're hiding and they say, it's all good, we take half. And that leaves you with a choice. You either admit you're a selfish piece of shit, or you donate. Now, I always do the latter. So that right there is my solution to homelessness. Just give them a FPOS machine. Can you imagine that? You're walking through the city, homeless John's on the corner, he's trying to stare at you. I think he learned that move from his time selling soap in a farmer's market. Probably also why he's homeless. Then you walk past him, you accidentally make eye contact, he says, spare any change, you say, sorry, no cash on me. All of a sudden his eyes light up, it's all good, I take card. Hey, yeah, everyone's happy. He's getting paid, he can add a tip for his services. You better hope you don't walk past homeless John on a public holiday, because his surcharge rate is astronomical. I feel like I lost a bit of engagement there. When you go back to the police stuff, engagement was much more higher then. And I want to talk to you all today about the police foot chase. I feel like every young police officer joins so they can get into a foot chase. We've all seen the movies. Someone's running a 10-minute chase in shoes, you're doing cool shit, you're sliding over bonnets, climbing up alleyway ladders. It's fun. Now I had an opportunity for my first foot chase. Came early in my career, I stopped a driver who was a dodgy looking driver, we all know the look. As soon as I got out and asked his name, he just bolted. I don't know about you, but I've always thought that the best music to play in your head when you're running after someone is that really intense music they used to play on the piracy ads that told you not to steal a car or a plane. So he runs, my adrenaline spikes, I chase after him. And he's running and he jumps over the first fence he sees and it is immaculate. He does it, I follow him, I'm carrying all this heavy shit so it's not as immaculate. And then by the time I land, he's still in the same backyard as me. But he's getting ready to jump over the next fence. It's a lower fence this time, it's someone else's backyard. Then he jumps over, I give chase. And now I'm thinking, this is going to be my moment. This is my moment. This is my moving moment. But as I come up to the fence, because it's low, I can see over it. And he is standing in the middle of the next person's backyard, absolutely on his haunches, as if he just played a full game of footy. You got me. You got me. And I shit you not, in this moment I look down, there is literally a fence between us. And I say, no I fucking didn't, keep running. But by this stage he's just on his stomach and just arrest me, man. So I jump over the fence, walk up to him, very disappointed as he robbed me of this moment. So I wanted to let him go, because I felt so bad. You can't do that. Don't let me do that. So I had to arrest him. And I learned two things in that moment. Two things in that moment. The first is that policing is not like it is in the movies. The second is that local drug dealers have shit cardio. Now I feel like that story is a perfect allegory for anyone's career in policing. Starts off very exciting, but then it just ends in disappointment. But I consider myself a pretty fit person, to be honest. I do sports, do a lot of cardio, ran a half marathon and my legs didn't even get sore. So can somebody please tell me why my feet get so fucking sore after walking 10 metres when I'm shopping with my girlfriend? Now I relate to the local drug dealer. Oh, you got me, baby. Go on without me. Go on without me. I start looking for the nearest chair. I feel like it's very similar to lots of activities you do with your partner too. The art gallery, the museum. Something about those activities just sucks the soul out of any person. Now every time I go to the museum, I think, I like history. Brendan, you're going to do better, you're going to be better, you're going to go in there, you're going to read all the plaques, you're going to read all of it, learn all the knowledge, and then you're going to leave a better person. And every time I go to the museum without fail, I walk straight up to the T-Rex, start reading the plaque, get 2 sentences in, get bored, and start looking for the nearest seat. Now, I swear, for how interesting history is, it is fucking boring. And I feel like, historically, everyone should feel let down with how the museum makes them so boring. Take the Egyptian Empire, for example. They had everything. Pharaohs, mummies, the Nile, sand. The Adelaide Museum just puts them in this little offshoot maintenance closet. It's very boring. I think everyone knows it's boring as well. So there's always that one guy in there who does it, pretending it's not. He goes and he looks at the exhibitions, he just stops and he stands there staring for about 30 minutes. He doesn't say a word. And you can always distinguish this guy, I think, from everyone else because they adopt the exact same stance. not saying a word. So I tried this once, maybe there's a trick to it. So I went, I stood next to him, just standing there 30 minutes, not saying a word. It's like a Mexican standoff, but much more boring. It's a museum standoff. Anyway, he won it, he's the master of it. I think that's just it. The museum is a boring place. Now, while we're speaking about one of the only activities you can do in Adelaide, I want to talk about the zoo. Because whereas the museum makes me disappointed in myself, I feel like the zoo teaches you about disappointment. I think that every parent should have to take their kids to the zoo to teach them the lesson of disappointment. Really get them excited before you go. Hey kids, you want to go see all the animals you have at the zoo? You get all excited, they're amped up. What you should be telling them is, do you want to go look at a bunch of empty enclosures before we resign to the fact that all the animals are asleep out the back? Now, I'm against the caging of animals, I really am. But if we are going to cage them, let's do it where I can fucking see them. Put a low possum in there or something. Like everyone would love that. No, I'm against caging all animals. All animals. Except chickens. Caged eggs are delicious. Now, whereas the zoo teaches you about being disappointed as a child, I feel like it also teaches you about being a grown-up. See, I went to the zoo the other day with my partner, and it occurred to me that I'm now at an age where I have to do things my parents did for me that I took for granted when I was growing up. I had to carry around the backpack. My lower back was sore after about an hour. And has anybody tried reading that fucking map the zoo gives you? You need the Rosetta Stone to decipher that thing. I don't know why I never realised as a kid when me and my brother would say to my parents, let's go see the lion. Well, we would walk past every fucking animal twice on the way to the lion. Going into every nook and cranny, you get stuck in the reptile house. Boring section at the back with all the birds in them. Just when you're starting to get antsy, your parents are sweating, you just stumble across the line. And they let out this sigh of relief. Because they're just fucking winging it. No one knows how to read that thing. And now, this scares me because I'm a grown up now. I've managed to navigate through mortgages and taxes. But no one warned me about the fucking Zoom app. I feel like I've grown up really emotionally and mentally pretty well, but my body hasn't caught up with me just yet. I don't feel like I could pull off grey hair just yet. Definitely no cargo shorts and sneakers for me. And I don't have to urinate every time I arrive at a new place. Although my bladder has started failing me recently at night, I've noticed. I haven't had a full night's sleep in years. Because it doesn't matter how little water I drink, I have to wake up to piss every night. But every time I do it, I do that thing where you just keep your eyes squinted. As if opening your eyes completely is going to completely wake you up. I can't see a goddamn thing. I think it's worth it though. Because while you sacrifice your ability to see, it allows you to get back to sleep as soon as you get to bed. But with that, I also sacrifice 15 minutes every morning cleaning my piss up off the bathroom. I know I've needed that 15 minutes more recently since starting at 9 to 5. Very structured morning routine I have now. And there's been lots of differences I've noticed from when I started at the council to police. One of the differences is I'm comfortable in the workplace now, which is good. But the main discernible difference I want to talk to you all about tonight is the meeting. See, I don't understand the concept of the meeting. I didn't realise that people call a meeting any conversation they have with their colleagues who appear to look busy. This is a wild concept to me. And then I got invited in one of my first weeks to one of those bigger meetings, those more stereotypical ones. We were all sitting in the boardroom. And now, I thought the objective of a meeting was to talk about a project or a problem and come up with a solution. So I put my hand up, I offer a solution. Everyone loses their mind. Whoa, Brendan, you can't say that now. This is the pre-meeting. This is a meeting where we have to talk about what we're going to discuss in next week's meeting, the post-pre-meeting meeting. If we solve all of that now, how are we supposed to look busy next Wednesday? There's always some guys leading the meeting, they call it chairing the meeting. He may as well be talking another alien language, using all his business lingo, and not one person in the room ever has the confidence to stop him and just say, I don't understand what the fuck you're talking about. So they just keep going, and they read off this agenda. There's an agenda on the board, right? I shit you not, 80% of these agendas, they start off with welcome and pleasantries, 5 minutes. These people need to be told to be nice to each other. It is so regimented and robotic. Although I do suppose it's lucky that the agenda's there telling me to be nice, because if it wasn't, I might tell my colleagues what I actually think of them, that they're fuckwits. Actually see my boss out there in the crowd. Should I not come Tuesday? Now speaking of fuckwits, speaking of fuckwits, let's get back to the police, shall we? Let's get back to the police. Because I learned 2 things from my time in the police that I want to discuss tonight. Now, the first is that everyone lies and likes being lied to. Why do you think none of you complain when the commissioner gets on the news and says there's no traffic quotas? Because there is. Why do you think people use the phrase, if I'm being honest? Does it mean everything else they say is dishonest? Can you imagine flipping the script on that? Say to your colleague, if I'm being dishonest, I think you're a fuckwit. It's really mess with their heads. But I also found that the more people lie, the angrier they get when you don't believe them. I have a story about this. So I was working with a patrol partner once, and we got this job. It comes down on your screen when you're in the police, and it reads, house is being robbed by male. And for the sake of the story, let's just call this male Mike Jones. I'm going to call him that because that's his real name. And it says, Mike Jones is robbing this house. It belongs to Beverly and it's been abandoned for 2 months. So we arrive. Literally, it is like a comedy show when we get out. We immediately see the garage door open, just 2 legs sneaking out, carrying a flat screen TV. And the flat screen TV turns around and it's Mike Jones holding it. And without hesitation, he just looks at me and he goes, hey mate, mind helping me move my TV to the car? I go, no Mike. Put that down, what are you doing here? And these are all true stories. And he looks at me, again, no hesitation. He goes, oh, I'm just helping a mate move house. Okay. Don't remember his line. No, this house belongs to someone called Beverly. And then Mike Jones, he goes, oh yeah, my mate, she's my grandma. My mate is my grandma and her name is Beverly. I mean, it's a great guy, so his grandma out. Don't remember his line again. I don't think you are, Mike, because this house has been abandoned for 2 months. And he goes, yeah, of course it has. I moved her into the nursing home about 2 months ago. Jeez, I just start getting a bit fishy as you do. You always question things. Well, what are you actually doing here? And he says to me, fine. You got me, officer. The house was abandoned. I thought I would just take the TV. Haha, I've got him. I say to him, Mike, you can't do that. You can't just take the TV from an abandoned house. That is still theft. And then he goes, again, no hesitation. No, you got me all wrong, officer. I wasn't taking it for myself. I was going to donate it to the children's orphanage down the road. So now I'm bedazzled. I don't know what's going on. Is he robbing this house? Or is he helping his mate, his grandma, children orphans? So I started helping him move the TV. Then my patrol partners, they realised he was lying. So I put the TV down and we had to arrest this guy. I think of 2 to 5 years. That's it. No punchline. Because that's my point. People like lying and they like being lied to. It's why I don't mind when my mum tells me I'm funny and my partner says I have a big dick. I like lying, actually, all the time. I lie to my parents. I always seem to lie to my parents when they want me to go visit my grandma. I always seem to be busy. Always seem to be busy there, just lying. Well, now that I work at 9 to 5, I found I actually had more time. So I went to go visit my grandma in the home the other day, and she's an Italian, beautiful woman. She's a slick there, but and I go there, and she is elderly, she's Italian, she probably doesn't understand what I'm saying right now. But every time I go there, she says, she looks at me and she goes, oh Brandon, you beautiful boy, you are so beautiful, you are the best grandson, you are the best grandson ever. And every single time I visit her, I look and I think, damn, I feel bad for lying, not coming to visit more often. I'm going to do this more often. But this time it gets a bit weird because she starts getting a bit, she looks sad this time. I say, Grandma, what's going on? She goes, Grandma, you are the most beautiful grandson. I wish everyone had a grandson as beautiful as you. My roommate doesn't even have a grandson as beautiful as you. I don't know a roommate, but I like helping people out. So I go, look, Grandma, just tell me about your roommate and maybe we can help out. And then she goes, Brandon, my roommate, her name is Beverly. Her grandson Mike Jones was supposed to pick up 2 months ago after donating her TV. Marvin, man. I feel like grandmas get a bad rap in my colleague. All beautiful, all beautiful, all beautiful people. However, very sad when I start losing their memories. And dementia is such an awful disease. It's bad seeing someone you know forget who you are, forget who they are, forget where they are, forget anything. It's quite stressful. But I'm just very glad we live in a time where people with dementia are offered opportunities for full-time employment. Now, I bet you're wondering where I'm going with this. But, you know when you go to sign in on literally any account, you put in your details and then you press the Remember Me button? Don't you think it's pretty ironic the Remember Me button has a memory of a fucking dementia patient? Every single time you put all your details in, you press Remember Me, you go back in the next day, it's asking all your goddamn details again. It's like whenever I go visit Grandma, what's your name? What's your name? Now, how else would you explain the sheer dysfunction of that button to me, and that they're paying dementia patients to program? I feel like the whole password section is just to prepare us for life with dementia. Because I need that button to work. Because whenever I try to remember my passwords, I feel like I have fucking dementia. And now Apple, they've implemented this new strong password recommendation. So they recommend a 40-character password to you. It makes no sense. No words, lowercase, uppercase, all these symbols. Who thought that was a good idea? So I can barely remember my password and it's my dog's name, let alone this strong password. And then it shoots you through to the security questions when you get it wrong enough. And now I feel like I belong in a fucking dementia ward because according to the computer, I can no longer remember my mum's maiden name, the city I live in, or the school I went to. I get really angry. I can see why dementia patients are so angry and stressed out all the time. And now I can see why Bob has a taser budget for them. Now, where was I in all of this? It's happening already. No, there was one rule, everyone lies, everyone likes being lied to, but the other thing I learned from the police, second thing I want to talk about to you today, is that people defecate themselves when they pass away. I know it's very morbid, we've taken a morbid turn, but what we're going to do, we're going to do what all police do in this situation. We're going to joke about it, and then we're going to repress it. There's no way that's going to come back and haunt any of us. You'll be surprised at how many times you go to a job where someone's passed away. They've either passed away on the bathroom, on the way to the bathroom, or you speak to a loved one, and they tell you the last thing they said was, I need to go to the bathroom. Now, I don't know about you, but I'm a hypochondriac. So now every time I need to go to the bathroom, I think I'm going to die. Unfortunately, I survive most of the time, but then I get out and I start thinking about it again. I get anxious, and then I need to go again. I'm in this vicious cycle at the moment. I'm at this point where every time I need to go to the bathroom, I'm calling all my loved ones. Put yourself in my shoes, how awkward that is. Calling your mum, telling her how much you appreciate her, or why you have a turtle head sticking out of your eye. She woke up the other day, I thought I was having a heart attack. I had chest pain, so I always jump to the worst conclusion. But it subsided, like it was all good. But as I struggled to get back to sleep, I decided I want to start Googling the symptoms of a heart attack. I do that. And I looked at the common ones, chest pain, tightness in the chest, shortness of breath. But then I went on this accredited medical website, and there was one right down the bottom that just shocked me. It said, feeling of impending doom. What does that mean? I don't know what that means. I thought about it over and over and I couldn't figure it out. But then I started to become concerned because I didn't realise that I could be having a heart attack whenever I need to introduce a new partner to my mum. Death isn't a laughing matter. It's not. Some people that I wish could be here that unfortunately can't tonight. And with death comes grief. And they said there's 5 stages of grief. You have denial, you have anger, you have bargaining, you have depression, then you have acceptance. And I hope there's people out there who have never had to experience grief. And for those of you who haven't, I want to offer a comparison for you. It's like when you put on a bit of extra weight and you're going out of your pants. So you go to put your pants on, you're feeling a bit tighter, and the denial kicks in. It kicks in straight away. Oh, I'm not putting on more weight. They just came out of the wash. They're shrunken. That'll stretch. That'll stretch. Then you get them on, you walk around like the fucking Tin Man all day, trying to read the seams. Then you have anger. That's the next time. They're feeling a bit tighter this time. You get angry. You fucking fat fuck, stop eating so many fucking desserts. Then you finally get them on. You're angry all day, you've got your jeans digging into your love handles. Then you have bargaining. That's when you put them on, they're a bit tighter now. You start bargaining with yourself. Oh, I don't need to go buy new pants, I'm just going to lose the weight. I'm going to lose the weight. Then you've got to bargain with your housemate because it's a 2-man operation now. Okay, I'm going to suck in, and you do the bottom. Get them on. Then you have depression, which is when they stop fitting, you get sad about it. But then you have acceptance. That's when you just accept it, you go out, you buy new pants, the world is free, and there is a weight off your shoulders. It's a weight off your shoulders. And I would like to think that if I still had my old pants, they would be happy for me. Now, these stages of grief, they're not chronological, they're not sequential, and there's no time frame that you have to get over them. There's not. Take me, for example. I'm still in the denial phase. Look how fucking tight these bad boys are. I'm walking around like a Tin Man all night. I did try getting into a bit of better shape before the show, but not for the reasons you might think. Don't think you need to be fit or anything to be more attractive, anything like that. It's more of a niche reason. So I've come to the conclusion recently, the more I see myself, that I'm just a very generic looking person. I feel like I would have made a better criminal than police officer. I would have got away with everything. You would not be able to identify that. Picture right now in your head how you would describe me to a police officer. This is white, average height, average weight, short brown hair, no tattoos, funny-ish. I would get away with everything because you just described 95% of Adelaide. That joke was leading somewhere, but we're running short on time, So I want to leave you with one more story tonight. And it's not actually a police story, it's a council-related story. And it's because without making that move, I wouldn't have had time to put on this show for you all tonight. Now, again, keep in mind this is uncomfortable for me before I start the joke. Specifically because the CEO is in the audience. So I found since joining the council that the higher up you get, the less work you actually do. And now I've started out, I've done lots of different jobs myself. I've been a PA. For those of you not in the know, PA means personal assistant. I think that's a nice way of saying slave. So I was a PA of one of the big wigs at the council there, and he was going on a business trip, and he asked me to do his itinerary for him. And I've got his schedule. I've never done an itinerary before, so I write it down. I go 10:30 meeting, 1 p.m. meeting, 3:30 meeting, and I submit it. Submit it to the big wig. He loses his mind. He goes, "What are you doing, Brandon? You haven't accounted for my meals. You haven't put what I have my breakfast and my dinner in there." Holy shit. This guy's life depends on me. If I don't remind him when to eat breakfast, he is going to starve all day. He's going to go hungry to bed if I don't tell him when to have dinner. This is a serious job I'm doing now. So guess what? I want to take this seriously. He was that reliant on it. I put in there 6:30 breakfast, 11 o'clock meeting, 12:30 lunch, but then I get smart because he's that reliant on it. 2 p.m. promote Brandon. 6:30 dinner, and I submit it, goes off, and 2 p.m. the next day I get a phone call, and it's him, and he goes to me, Brandon, I don't know why I'm doing it, but I'm going to offer you my position. So I say to him, I'm going to do your itinerary again today, even though you promoted me. And I get over 6:30 breakfast, 12:30 lunch, 2 p.m. buy Brandon a new car, 6:30 dinner. And lo and behold, the next day I get a knock at my door, I walk out and there's a Lamborghini in the driveway. This is a true story, by the way. So I say to him, I'll do it one more time for you, but because I've been so selfish, I've only bettered myself with my newfound power. So I put in there 6:30 breakfast, 12:30 lunch, 2 p.m. help the less fortunate, 6 p.m. dinner. I submit it to him. And I'm so excited I finally give him back. I wait, 2 p.m. the next day, and nothing happens. Nothing. I know. It's a true story. You're very invested in this one. Now, I go on the news, I think, well, maybe they're reporting on it. So I go on the news, and again, nothing's happened. So I'm quite down about this. Oh, I've just been selfish. I'm not a selfish person. I wanted to give back. So I walk home that day. I'm walking through the city, and I can see nothing's changed. Homeless people still walking in front of cars. And I walk past someone who's sitting on the corner, and I accidentally make eye contact with him, and he says to me, spare any change. I say to him, sorry, no cash on me. His eyes light up, and he says, that's all good. As of 2 p.m, I now take cards. Thank you all so much. Thank you all.